What's up guys, it's River Rat Productions, and today I'm going to be talking to you about crankbaits and how you should fish them. This isn't going to go too in depth because I don't want to overwhelm you guys, especially if you guys are new. So I might make another one later on to get like more in depth into it. If you guys are interested in that, please let me know down below. Also, I just want to bring up that crankbaits have quickly become one of my favorite baits to use. And honestly, they're so versatile, you can use it in pretty much any situation to mimic pretty much anything that a bass will forage on. So they're pretty cool. I've started using them a lot more recently, and I figured I'd make a guide about it. Honestly, I really do enjoy crankbaits. They are one of probably my favorite baits to throw now, honestly. I've started using it a lot more because they do target bigger fish generally. Also, make sure you stay tuned to the end of the video. I'm going to be mentioning my giveaway that I'm going to be doing for 300 subscribers. Also, thank you so much for 200 subscribers. It really means a lot. I will be doing a giveaway for 300 subscribers once I hit it. I don't know when that will be, but I will be mentioning it later on in the month. So if you haven't already, make sure you smash that subscribe button so you guys can stay tuned for that, because you guys will probably be pretty interested in whatever I'm going to give away. I haven't fully decided what yet, but it will be pretty awesome. But yeah, let's get into it, guys. There are some different style of crankbaits. I'll divide them into two categories to start off with. There's the rattling and then there's the silent. And each one, it has its own benefit depending on where you're fishing. Personally, I like to use rattles whenever the water's stained or muddy, or if there's like a lot of chop on the surface, I'll use rattles so the bass will be able to find it easier. And I will use the silent ones for like more clear water situations. Now, people also do change out their hooks, and that's totally up to you, because sometimes companies will skimp on the hooks and they will use like lower grade hooks that aren't as sharp, and you might want to change them out. Now, if you do decide to change them out, I would definitely recommend Gamakatsu. The two types of hooks that I would recommend that they make would be the EWG trebles and the round bends. Personally, it really kind of depends on your personal preference. I prefer to use EWGs, but some people like the round bends, so it's completely up to you. Now, there's a few different types of crankbaits. So there are weight baits, which dive 0 to 2 feet. There is shallow diving crankbaits, and this is kind of up to like the company and what they consider it. But personally, I consider shallow diving 2 to 5 feet, sometimes 2 to 6. There is also medium diving crankbaits that are 6 to 12 feet, and deep diving crankbaits which are 12 feet and up. So it really kind of depends on where you're fishing and where exactly you're going to be targeting. So it also depends on where the bass are. Sometimes in the spring, summer, and fall, you might want to use a shallow diving one depending on where they're at. And generally, like in the summer, you might use a deep diving one too, or anywhere really in between depending on how deep the lake is that you're fishing, or river, or anywhere you're really fishing. And they're each going to reflect off a cover a little bit differently. So weight baits and shallow diving crankbaits normally have like a square bill that reflect off a cover pretty well. And these are really, really awesome for pretty much any situation whenever you're fishing shallow. And they catch fish. The medium diving and the deep diving ones, you might want to use whenever it's like super hot out during the summer, or like really cold in the winter. And whenever the bass are deeper, you might want to use those because there's not going to really be as many fish up shallow. Also, I'm not going to include lipless crankbaits in this because I feel like that should be a video all in itself, because it's honestly, I think it's really different compared to ones with lips on them compared to lipless crankbaits. So I will do a video on that in the future. So if you're interested in that, let me know. Now, where exactly should you fish a crankbait is probably what you're asking yourself. Now, crankbaits can pretty much be fished anywhere you can really deflect off of. So the main places that people target are like rocks, boulders, trees, tree stumps, and anything with like a hard bottom. That's a pretty good bet to use crankbaits on. You can use it in other situations. It just really depends on how aggressive the bass are, but generally that's the best way to do it. Squarebills will deflect off of rocks and stumps and trees a lot easier compared to like round bended ones that the bill is curved on. So with squarebills, the bills are flat, so you will be able to deflect off of stuff a lot easier and not get hung up as much. But the nice thing about crankbaits are normally they are floating, So what that means is they will basically back out if you stop reeling, and they'll come out of the snag most of the time. Now it depends on what you get hooked on. Now if it's like a rock and you get wedged in between there, yeah, you might have to go get it out. But I'm going to include some fish catches I caught with the crankbait here so you guys can see that and just kind of see generally where I like to fish it. So stay tuned. Personally, I love a good crankbait bite, and I hope you guys enjoyed those clips right there. And now I'm going to tell you about what type of crankbaits I like to use. I got some notes just so I don't miss anything, because there's a lot to it, but not really. I generally stick to like a general color scheme depending on which brand I'm using, and each brand has a different purpose. Now that'll be up to you what you decide those brands are used for, but personally I like to use them in a few different situations, so let's get into it. So the first one is 6 Sense. I have started to love 6 Sense crankbaits. I've been using the 50X mainly, and I'm definitely going to be buying some more in the future. But the colors I like are Bluegilia, Crawfish Nook, Shad Pro, Craw Bomb, Boiled Crawfish, Blue True Shad, and Chartreuse Blackback. These all weigh 3/8 of an ounce, so they're pretty light. You can generally use them on spinning combos or bait casting combos. It really kind of depends. Honestly, they're some of my favorite crankbaits. I really haven't got to use any of the deeper diving ones. I've mainly just been using the Squarebills, the ones with the rattles in them. So I will try the silent ones because I really don't have too many places where I fish silent ones. I mainly just use the rattle ones, but I do change it up sometimes. And I have other brands that I use for silent ones. Here's one of the bluegill ones I like to use. It's a pretty good color. You can tell it's been beat up quite a bit. I've definitely been using this one the most recently. And these are one of their crawl patterns that they have. I don't remember all the names for them because I haven't been using them too long, but it's a pretty good little lure. Here's another one right here. You guys can see that right there. It's a pretty good little color. I definitely like the crankbaits. You hear the rattles in them too. And that makes a lot of noise and it draws the fish in. And here's one of the shad colors that I have. It's a pretty good little color. I definitely love to use these Squarebills. They don't skimp out really on the hooks. The hooks are pretty sharp, honestly. I love the rattles. I pretty much love everything about this bait. Now this is a more tight action type of bait. So this will excel pretty much whenever the fish are pretty finicky, like in the later months like the summer and like the winter. Like whenever the water gets like a little bit colder or the water's like really hot and the fish don't really want to move too much, or vice versa with the cold water and it being too cold and they don't want to move too much. This will typically be the bait I throw, but I would throw like a deep diving one. Personally, I would recommend any of the 6 Sense ones. They make phenomenal products. I'm not sponsored by them at all, by the way. I've just recently started using them here in the spring, and I do love these crankbaits. These crankbaits are probably my favorite. But there's also some other ones that I'm going to bring up too. I like to use the Guggen Squad ones, and I like to use 5 colors mainly. The Sriracha Craw, the Chartreuse Blackback, the Chartreuse Blueback, the Ghost Gill, and the Sexy Shad. Those colors are pretty similar to what I just showed you. I'm not going to show you too many of those, but you can kind of see they're a little different. They have different color schemes. This one definitely stands out in muddy water pretty well. This is one of my favorite lures that I use by them, especially this is also one of my favorite colors that they make, especially for the spring. This is a phenomenal bait. They have different diving depths too. I would recommend pretty much any of them. Same thing with the 6th Sense. It just really kind of depends on how deep you're fishing, and I'll link all these down below so you guys can go check them out. Now, these do have a more erratic action compared to the 6th Sense ones, which have like a tighter wobble. These definitely go all over the place. So they're pretty nice to use, especially when the bass are super aggressive. The next lure I would recommend would be Rapala. It wouldn't be a crankbait video if you didn't bring up Rapala. They have a unique action compared to the other ones because they're made out of balsa wood and the other ones are made out of plastic. Some colors I would recommend would be bluegill, silver, red crawdad, fire tiger, and shad. And that's pretty much the same general scheme I've been telling you guys. Those are like the colors I mainly like to stick to, but it's also up to your personal preference and where exactly you're fishing. Because if you're out west, your baits are probably going to be different compared to mine. And I like to use the DT6s the most, but I also have used the DT10s and the DT16s. And it just kind of really depends on where the fish are staged at and where they're currently at. So keep that in mind. Some honorable mentions that I haven't really got to try out yet, but I know are pretty good crankbaits from people I fish with, are the Strike King ones and the Weston ones. I've got a few Weston ones in my mystery tackle boxes, and honestly, I really do want to try them out. I just haven't really had a chance yet. So be on the lookout for that. Another one is Strike King. They make some pretty good lures overall. I've started using them a little bit more. I haven't really used them too much, so I can't really say anything, but the people I know who fish them, they love the lures. So now we're going to talk about the gear you should use to throw crankbaits. And the first thing we're going to start with is the line. I like to use Red Label Seagar 12-pound test, and I pretty much use 12-pound tests for all my crankbaits. I don't really change it up just because it has a smaller line diameter and it's able to dive deeper. Because let's say like you're throwing like a one that dives at 10 feet and you're using 17-pound line, it's probably only going to go like 6-7 feet compared to like with a 12-pound line with the smaller diameter, it's going to go to the advertised depth on it. Fluorocarbon is a really nice line to use with crankbaits because it helps your bait get down to the advertised depth easier because fluorocarbon sinks compared to like mono, which floats. Now, the reels I would recommend, it really kind of depends on what you're comfortable with. Some people like to throw their crankbaits on spinning combos, like Squarebill specifically, and some people like to use bait casters. Personally, I use both, but I use the bait caster more just so I can cast farther and I can get the bait in the strike zone for longer. Now, the gear ratio that you should use would be a 5-8-1 or a 6-2. And personally, the bait caster that I use, this is a Shimano Corrado DC. And honestly, this is probably one of my favorite reels that I have. It sends this crankbait flying. Like, you can cast this probably like 50-60 yards. This is also my jerkbait / crankbait rod, and this is a medium fast action, and it is a 7-foot, and this is a Dobbins Champion XP. You don't have to get these are pretty expensive. I've just been fishing for a long time and I've had time to upgrade my gear, but this is definitely the setup I like to use. But there's definitely some other ones. Just make sure that it's a fast action and it's either a medium or a medium heavy. It really kind of depends on what your preference is. Personally, I like to use mediums compared to like medium heavies because I'm able to keep the fish pinned easier compared to like a medium heavy. And with a medium heavy, I'm afraid I'm going to rip the hooks out. So this is a nice rod to use. But if you want to decide to use a medium versus a medium heavy, personally, I would recommend you just try them both and see which one you prefer more. And it's completely up to you. Because honestly, there's no rules in fishing. You're able to really do anything, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Also, I would recommend getting some split ring pliers, just so if you wanted to change your hooks, like in case if one of them got bent, you can change them out real quick. Well guys, that wraps up my crankbait guide. I hope you guys enjoyed. And I will definitely be doing more tutorial videos for people who are more inexperienced compared to like others, just so I can help you guys get more into the sport more. Let me know down below what other type of tutorials you guys would want to see. And also, I am planning on doing a giveaway once I hit 300 subscribers. I'm currently, at the time of posting this, I'm at 204. I will be doing it once I hit 300 subscribers. I haven't decided exactly what I'm going to give away, but I was thinking about a mystery tackle box. Let me know down below what you think I should give away and what you guys would be interested in. I'm still learning how to use crankbaits, and it all comes down to personal preference, so your personal preference might be different compared to mine. So if you guys have other colors like you like to use or other brands, let me know down below and I'll definitely try them out, because I really haven't been using crankbaits for too long. I figured I would make a guide out on it because I've been having really good luck on them. Also, on one of the videos last week, 88% of you were not subscribed. So make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. If you made it this far, it would definitely help my channel out. And like I mentioned earlier, I am doing the giveaway at 300 subscribers. So if that interests you, make sure you smash that subscribe button. And also let me know if there's anything you would do different with crankbaits in the comments down below. Also, I will be releasing more on the giveaway later on in the month, so stay tuned for that. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you guys can stay notified about that. Also, follow me on Instagram. I have it linked down below. And make sure you smash that subscribe button so we can hit 300. I hopefully want to hit 300 subs by the middle of August. So if we can accomplish that, we'll definitely do a giveaway. If we can hit it sooner, then I'll do the giveaway sooner. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.